From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. I'm your host, Paranormal Phil, and later on in the show tonight, we're going to do a mystery door episode where anything can happen. Now, we didn't have anybody call in 10 minutes before the show like I wanted a mystery guest to do, but there is still a chance for anybody that wants to be on the show tonight to be a mystery guest to call in. Just please wait until after I read the story of the day, and of course we'll get you on the show. You must have a topic to talk about, and you must be on the show for the full 2 hours, basically. Of course, not the whole 2 hours, because I'm going to be doing the story of the day, so that's going to take a moment to do. But other than that, you will be on the show for the rest of the show. Excuse me. So let's get up on the Talk of the Night website under the story of the day. Excuse me. Time traveler reveals plant from the future. The parade of purported whistleblowing time travelers added yet another character to its mix this week when a woman emerged with claims of journeying into the year 6000 and bringing a plant back with her. As has been custom all year, the odd video popped up on the Apex TV YouTube channel, which has seemingly cornered the market when it comes to showcasing these strange tales of advanced technology and fantastic accounts of distant future. And per usual, the footage follows the pattern of obscuring the alleged time traveler's face and filming the undisclosed location. Now, although this installment follows the template of time traveler videos, this particular piece of footage attempts to up the ante when it comes to providing proof of individuals' claims. At the center of the story is a woman named Chloe who says that she hails from Finland. According to her, she was enlisted by the country's National Science Laboratory back in 1965 and observed a number of astonishing secret inventions like artificial hand, which connected the user's hand. Now, you can read the rest of that story up on talkingthenight.weebly.com. Now, I wouldn't put it past that kind of stuff going on. And, of course, I'm going to share the show so that people know I am live real quick. But like I said, if you're listening to the show, go over to Spreaker.com, and if you don't have a Spreaker account, it's free. You don't have to post a show or anything like that. Just sign up. Pop in the chat. Let me know you're listening. I do interact with the listeners. Now, if anybody wants to be a mystery guest on tonight's show, feel free to call in. The numbers to call in are by Skype at Talk of the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561, and I will get you on the show as a guest. So, like I said, I'm just sharing this. And just doing this real quick. And then, of course, we're going to get into a topic because regardless if anybody calls in or not, I am going to go on with the show. And I do have a topic picked out to do just in case, but you got like a couple minutes to call in if you want to be a mystery guest. As soon as I get finished sharing this, I will as soon as I finish sharing this, I will get into the topic of tonight, just in case nobody does call in and wants to be a mystery guest. All right, so I'm not going to share it all over the place because I just don't have time. There are I do so much for the show as it is, as far as hosting the show, producing the show, booking agent, everything like that. Hey, Nicole, welcome to the chat. Like I said, I do interact with the listeners in the chat room. You got 1 minute to call in if you want to be a mystery guest on the show. Don't tell me who you are. I'll let everybody figure it out. But if not, we got a topic to talk about. And of course, I'm going to do this mystery door thing tomorrow as well. So if you're new to the show and you have a topic that you want to talk about, but you want to see how this goes, or how the show goes, feel free to do so. I will do mystery door episode tomorrow. Now, if I get a good response from these shows, then I will do it at a later time as well. Not that I know of, Nicole. Nobody has wanted. I'm gonna do another thing this Friday for it, and everything like that. So let's talk about some things that I've never talked about on this show. I've done a lot of things about the paranormal, but I've never had a guest on to talk about astrology. Now, at any point in this show, if you got a topic that you want to talk about and you want to be a mystery guest, just call in. I'll welcome that. But the way this show is going to work tonight is just like if I had a guest on, no calls into the show until the second half of the show, because I want to be like I'm my own guest, because this is going to be interesting. Like I said, the first time for doing this, I didn't know how this was going to work, but I said, okay, my guest that I wanted to get scheduled for tonight and tomorrow night never responded back to me, so I said, rather than do a rebroadcast, let's do a mystery door episode where anything can happen. And, of course, I'm going to take the chance because I won't have time. If I get a guest on, I won't have time to prepare for a guest like I do like to get prepared, get questions ready, understand what's going on with the guests, what they're going to be talking about, so I know a little something about what they're talking about. I'm not going into it blindly like tonight, but tonight, if I get any mystery callers, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be like, okay, what the heck? How do I ask this guest question? But like I did last night with my guest, where I just asked my first question and it just rolled from there. That's how I hope it pans out. Either way, we will roll with the punches. So let's get into what is us, and we're going to get into all aspects of astrology, the stars, the zodiac sign, sun signs, stuff like that. But first, let's talk about what is astrology. Now, astrology is the study of the influences that distant cosmic objects, usually stars and planets, have on human lives. The position of the sun, stars, moon, planets. Hold on, I'm going to try and actually bring this up to where I can see the chat room at the same time I'm reading this, if I can. Okay. Well, I can't do that, but if you pop in the chat and say something, I'll be back in the chat in a moment to acknowledge you, because like I said, I interact with the listeners and everything like that. But when I'm talking about something and reading something, I can't do both. So the position of the sun, stars, moon, planet at the time of people's birth, not their conception, their birth, is said to shape their personality, affect their romantic relationships, and predict their economic fortunes, among other divinations. What most people know about astrology is their sign. Just checking something here because had somebody commented on my post. All right, so on Facebook, and if you, okay, just checking the Spreaker chat. The person said, "Hope your show goes well." And then, like I said, even though I don't got a mystery guest that called in, it can still happen tonight. Anything can happen. It's a mystery show. But until then, if they do call in, we're going to talk about astrology. Now, like I was saying, most people know about astrology in their sign, which refers to one of the 12 constellations of the zodiac. This is a form of sun sign astrology, which is the astrology upon which newspaper horoscopes are based. Now, some people believe these horoscopes to be a prediction of what's going on in their life or what's going to happen that day. Some people even base buying lottery tickets on it. They'll base what they're going to do that day based on them. I know I used to constantly look at my zodiac just to see what was going to happen. And sometimes things didn't turn out the way they said it in the horoscope, but which we're going to get into later on in the show if we have no mystery guests. I want to welcome Bill to the chat and everything like that. And now, of course, back then, people paid attention to the astrology in the newspaper. Now there's all kinds of apps for them and everything like that. It's more technology based, but still the same horoscope. Now, it is probably the simplest form because nothing more than the date of somebody's birthday is needed to generate a sun sign horoscope. Now, I've done shows on numerology, and that requires a whole list of things, which I'm going to get that numerologist back on at the end of the year for my annual prediction show, as well as some other psychics and everything like that. Now, that show, the prediction show, might be a couple shows, and of course, it's going to be longer than the 2 hours. It's going to be probably a 4 or 5 hour show. Well, no, I'll probably do a 3 hour show. And yeah, I'll do a 3 hour show where I'll have one guest each hour, not them on for the full 2 hours. But that's in the future. We're talking about tonight with astrology. Now, many astrologers will tell you that this form of astrology is so simplistic that it produces very limited results. To produce a more accurate reading, astrologers check to see what sign each planet was in at the time of birth. The planet and the signs combine with other elements such as houses and angels to form a complex and very often very specific profile of a subject's personality, life, and future prospects. Now, like I said, I'm going to try and get somebody on the show that does talk about astrology for a future show, but for tonight, I'm just going to be talking about it. Forgot where I left off. Okay, there we are. There is no single unified theory or practice of astrology. It's all based on people's opinion or thoughts of what's going to happen. Because, I mean, when you read a horoscope, you read something and you're like, no, that's not me. That has nothing to do with me. That's because they're basing it off of maybe what they would like to see happen in their sign on that day, or maybe they got friends in each sign and they're basing it off of that. I don't know how they work with doing the horoscopes and the papers and the apps and everything like that, but that's what they do. Ancient cultures also practiced their own form, some of which combined and evolved into today's common Western astrology. Eastern cultures continue to practice their own form of astrology. Chinese, Vedic, and Tibetan astrology are among the most well-known. I mean, you got like the Chinese zodiac, the year of the dog, the year of rabbit, year of dragon, stuff like that. They don't go by the Western form of the zodiac signs. They got different signs. Now, even within Western astrology, there is a considerable diversity of methods and philosophies. Some divide astrology by the end result that is intended. Just going to check in the chat room here. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Bill. So there's mundane astrology. This is used to examine world events and make predictions about national affairs, wars, and economies. There's integrary, if I can talk tonight, astrology. The branch can be further subdivided, but generally refers to astrology that seeks to make specific predictions or analyzes about the subject's objective or event within the subject's life. And then there is natal astrology. This is what most people think of when they think of astrology. Natal astrology seems to make predictions and analysis based on the date of a person's birth. It's based on the idea that everything that happens to something is expressed at the very beginning of that thing, sometimes known as the law of beginning. Now, of course, we're going to get into quite a bit of other things. I'm just checking something real quick. Because I'm just trying to bounce all around, check everything. Nicole says her friend Eric is great on this subject. Yeah, well, if he's on Facebook or anything like that, have him call in. I mean, as a mystery guest. Of course, I won't know if it's him or not, but I mean, if anybody has experience in astrology and wants to call in on this subject, like I said, it's a mystery door. I won't know who's calling. I won't know what their background is or anything like that. That's the complete mystery of a mystery door episode. So if anybody wants to call in and everything like that to talk about any topic just for the rest of the show, I welcome it. All right, so let's get into astrology throughout time. Now, the study of astrology dates back thousands of years to the ancient Egyptians, who were the first to make a science of it. The Babylonians, the Greeks, and Romans also held it in high esteem. Now, of course, that is the first recorded history of astrology, but I believe it goes actually back further than the ancient Egyptians. Now, that's just my personal opinion, my thought on it, but I do believe it goes back even further than that. Now, many people believe that the biblical magi, the king who brought gifts to Christ, the Christ child, were astrologers who studied their art, told them where to find the baby. Although it is generally accepted that the variable babe, or however you pronounce that word, Bede, the great English historian of the Dark Ages, studied astrology as a mystical discipline. It was not a popular art or science in Europe at that time. Of course, not much was. People that... Okay, cool. I'm just responding to the chat room and everything like that. So, like I said, I pay attention to the chat. Of course, I'm trying to pay attention and read this. Now, if I don't have anybody to call in, everything like that, it's going to be back and forth between the pages and everything like that, reading and then paying attention to the chat room as well. So, because when I talk to a guest, I'm just looking at the questions that I've prepared for them. Of course, with a mystery door, I have no questions. It's just a matter of rolling with the punches and going from there. Now, although it's generally... let's see. During the Crusades, the Middle Ages, the returning knights brought back many Eastern influences, including the study of astrology. It wasn't until the European Renaissance of the 14th to the 17th centuries, when high learning and occult science were in their zeniths, that astrology came into its own in the West. Although it didn't coexist well with Catholicism, it was well received in Protestant countries. During this period in history, however, astrology was still providence of the rich and powerful. In England, astrology reached its high point during the reign 1558 to 1603 of Queen Elizabeth I, but with the discovery and theories of astronomers Copernicus and Galileo in the 16th and 17th century, respectively, astrology and astronomy diverged, never to be reunited under the same scientific banner. Astrology lost its association with mysticism and was regarded as a pseudoscience. Of course, astrology is still practiced today, and we're going to read more as soon as I get it to scroll down. Let's see. Hello, Eric. Welcome to the show. Like I said, I am doing a mystery door episode, so if anybody wants to call in as a mystery guest for the show, and everything like that, I won't know what you talk about or anything like that. I'm just doing this talk about the astrology because I had no guests to come on as a mystery guest. But the number to call in if you want to be a mystery guest is by Skype at Talk in the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561. And of course, if anybody does, we'll bring them in right after I go to commercial break. So, like I said, I'm back and forth between the chat room and the whole different pages I'm reading on astrology. Now, this is something as far as part of like the paranormal field, the unknown and stuff like that, that I never really got into learning about. I was more into... Okay, not a problem, Eric. But I mentioned the whole mystery door thing. If anybody wants to call in, like I said, I won't have time to prepare for it or anything like that. I'll just roll with the punches. So if you want to be a mystery guest on the show and you're listening, you got a topic that you want to talk about, we don't even have to talk about astrology. It can be anything. So, like I said, I'm just doing the astrology thing tonight, so I have something to talk about this whole 2 hours, unless I get a mystery guest on. So, again, like I said, it's something that I never really got into studying everything like that. I was more interested in ghost spirits, like cryptid creatures, ufology, stuff like that. That stuff interested me more. Now, I did study a little bit on numerology, and like I said, I'm going to have a numerologist back on my show at the end of the year for my annual prediction show, as well as other psychics and mediums for like a 2 or 3 day show, maybe a whole week show, I don't know. We'll see how things play out as we get closer to the end of December. All right, so tell you what, I'm going to actually take a break. If anybody, again, wants to come on as a mystery guest, just call into the show and we'll bring you on. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Come to the sun with me, so I can show you something you've never seen. And both you and I shouldn't be too shy about letting go for once. Come and be free with me. Just look straight ahead. Don't you stay behind. Don't stay behind. Trying to make you feel right, 'cause the stars are like, can I make up your mind?
Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95. Or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking Tonight has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingtonight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details.
Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your life, you'll see it clear. I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your heart-earned temptation, 'cause I know that you'll make it on your own.
Okay, and we are back with this Mystery Door episode. And again, if anybody wants to call in and be a mystery guest, you're welcome up to the third break. If nobody calls in by the third break, you ain't getting on the show if you're going to want to be a mystery guest. But you have between now and the third break, if you want to be a mystery guest on the show. I know it's last moment for a lot of people, but hey, I put it out there like a couple of days in advance. Or no, tell you what, I think I put it out there yesterday or this morning about anybody that, it might have been yesterday, about the whole Mystery Door thing. And I contacted people that I know that have a lot of experience in the paranormal if they wanted to be a mystery guest. Now, again, I didn't look to see if they wanted to say yes or anything like that. I didn't care, because if they all tried to call in, it would only be the first one. Excuse me. It would only be the first one to call in to the show that would get the mystery guest spot. All right. So before the break, we were talking about astrology through time. Now let's talk about the modern age of astrology. Now, the early 20th century brought an astrology revival, particularly in the United States. Astrology's practical values as a predictor of stock market gains and losses in the 1920s, for example, has been well documented. Now, today's astrology is more popular than ever. This is largely due to two historical events that overlapped one another. The first was the period of the late 1960s, characterized by the Age of Aquarius, named for a song by the Broadway musical Hair. And I'm sure everybody has heard that show unless you're really young, and you might not have heard it. But for old people like myself, I have heard of it. And no, I was not born in the 60s. It's just, I've heard of it. Let's see. Eric, I'm going to give out the Skype name and call-in numbers here in a second. The number by Skype is Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Yeah, everything like that. Because like I said, if nobody calls in as a mystery guest, the phone lines will not be open until the second hour, because I'm acting as my own guest right now. But if you want to be a mystery guest on, feel free to do so. All right. Now the air that of rebellion and social change downplayed materialism and urged people to embrace the mystical side of life, which that's around the time when actually we got a Skype call coming in. Let's answer this call. You're on the air on Talk of the Night. Hello, Eric. I am doing good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm switching back and forth. Now, like I said earlier in the show, and of course I'm getting some feedback there, but I think that astrology started way back before, like, the ancient Egyptians, even though what I read, it said started in the ancient Egyptian time and stuff like that. I believe it started well before that with the Druids and the Celts. Yeah, because like I said, because you weren't in the chat room yet at the time when I mentioned that, but that's when it was first recorded as far as the thing. But like you said, they didn't have no formal system, but they did study the stars and everything like that. Wait,
They told
sorry.
stories.
I'm sorry, I forgot to take your mic off. I'm sorry, I had it on mute. I'm sorry.
That's
there
okay.
we go. So all that stuff that we mentioned about, they didn't hear you. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
But how real quick, since you have only a couple minutes and everything, how did you get into astrology?
Sure. Well, I've goodness, it's been a very long time. I took the first course when I was in college. It was with a local study group. It wasn't actually on my school's campus. And that was in 2004. And I've been hooked ever since. Prior to that, in like middle school and high school, my mother was really into mysticism. So, tea leaf reading, tarot cards, etc. And I tried all of those different mediums.
I did tarot card readings, I think, way back in the 80s. But then again, I've been in the paranormal field for 27 years, so.
There you go. I wasn't getting the accuracy that I was looking for. The great thing about astrology is that it cycles, and they're repeated patterns through time. So as astrologers, what we do is when there is a planetary alignment, an astrological aspect, a progression, transit, or direction, what we do is we look to when the last time those occurred throughout history, uncover what the repeating pattern is, and that is where we're able to forecast and kind of see what to expect. The tarot and tea leaves and runes were just a little too intuitive for me. Astrology is a science, which I really like.
like tarot card readings and stuff like that. It's pseudoscience.
It's open to interpretation. A plus B does not always equal C, but in astrology, A plus B will always equal C.
Now, you mentioned about repeating things and stuff like that through the different ages, times and stuff like that. Do you notice that when you look at, say, like something happened now and you go back to the last time it was in that period of time, do you notice almost the same thing happening?
Well, they say history repeats itself, and I believe a lot of that has to do with astrology. The themes are always the same. How it plays out minute by minute, detail by detail, is always different. But the themes are the same, but fortunately we can take a look at what the other planets are doing to kind of ferret out what those details are going to be.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I was never really interested in astrology. I would read the newspaper, horoscopes and everything like that, but just it never clicked to kind of really understand it. I learned a little bit about it, just enough to talk about it, but other than that, the astrology it's too conform for me. I like talking about and understanding the unknown. Mm-hmm.
Understandable. You want to be careful with those sun sign columns because that's 1/12 of the population. Any good astrologer knows that it's unbelievably limited in what it can do because you're looking at just the sun in the natal chart. When an astrologer works with an individual, we take your birth chart. And for your listeners, if they don't know what that is, it's your birth date, the time you were born down to the exact minute. We have to have that. Otherwise, our predictions are going to be off. And the location of birth, because we need the longitude and latitude to get the positions of all of the stars and planets at that moment of birth. And this creates essentially a spiritual fingerprint to the individual that is going to be unlike anyone else's on the earth. And we use that as the foundation for all analysis and then, of course, forecasting and predictions from there.
Now, one of the things that I've looked at into astrology, like when they say, or some people have said, like, I'll take like my sign. I'm a Capricorn. When my sign is in Saturn or Pluto or something like that, what is that telling people?
Well, it's what planets enter signs. Signs don't go through planets. That's okay.
Sorry, I had it backwards.
No, but what that means is that the sun in your natal chart is in the sign of Capricorn. It's in that 30 degrees of the zodiac. So planets move around through all 12 signs, and when they pass through that sign, they're having an effect on the soul or the core of your being. You're actually going to be... You said you were born a Capricorn?
Yeah.
Okay. You're actually going to be much more like your ascendant, which was the easternmost horizon at your moment of birth. There would have been a sign there, and your moon. Those together with your sun will show more of who you are as an individual as opposed to just being a Capricorn. Capricorns are not necessarily known to being very spiritual people, but obviously you are, so I would assume that you have a spiritual ascendant and or moon, probably both. The sun sign is really what we're becoming in this lifetime, not what we are.
Yeah. Now, like me, as far as what I know about astrology, and at least my sign, Capricorns, or at least what I've read, Capricorns are stubborn, but they strive for success, stuff like that.
They also have an incredible sense of humor, probably the best in the entire zodiac.
Yeah, I never thought of myself as very humorous, but I kind of do more of the slapstick humor than actually telling the jokes.
Could be. If you look at any comedian's chart, they're going to have a number of planets in Capricorn. But of
Okay.
course, we don't know what your chart
Yeah.
looks like. It may just be your sun. We're not looking at your Mercury, your Venus, your Neptune, Pluto, Uranus,
Yeah.
etc. You know, you need to look at the whole entire thing to get the complete picture. But
Yeah. Well, like I said, of course, if I bring you on a later show where we have time to plan and everything like that, we can get into all that and stuff like that. Is there, because I know we got 15 minutes before the top of the hour, and I don't know how much time you got. So I don't wanna
probably
hold
until
you.
about then.
Okay. Now, what can people learn from astrology?
Sure, there is astrology is a discipline that's pretty wide. The first thing that people usually learn or kind of uncover with an astrologer when they're studying astrology is a deeper understanding about who they are, what their strengths are, their weaknesses, their internal drives, their motives, their emotional nature, their mental nature, etc. From that, we then get into the meat of what most people use astrology for, and that is for individual prediction or forecast. It can also be for medical diagnosis if you were to consult with a medical astrologer. It's not something I've ever been interested in or have done. Astrology is oftentimes used for, it's a discipline called horary, so missing objects, missing people, individual questions, because the question itself will have a birth chart, just like the person, so to speak. Destiny is kind of foretold in the natal chart, as well as our successes and our failures in life. So a lot of people use it to kind of map out. Most of my clients, either get quarterly, every 6 months or annual kind of readings to plan and understand what's going to be occurring and how to interact with the world around them.
Okay, yeah. Now, I know a lot of people still read their horoscope, whether because a lot of it's technology based nowadays. But
And I
know
write a
that-
weekly horoscope column.
Now, with horoscopes, there have been times when I've looked at them and I'm like, that has nothing to do with me, and none of it ever happens. But now, when people write those horoscope columns, what are they basing their whole thing on? Is it like their thoughts of it, or is it based off of something else?
Well, one thing you need to consider is that when people are reading those sun sign columns, they're reading their sun sign, which is where the sun was at their birth. It's the sign that they say, "Oh, I'm a Leo, I'm a Capricorn, I'm an Aries," etc. What you really should be reading is your ascendant, not your sun sign. Like, I was born in April, early April. I'm an Aries. I would never read the Aries horoscope for myself. I always read the Leo horoscope because that is my rising sign. With that being said, astrologers are only able to look at one sign at a time, which is why the accuracy is, excuse my language, it's crap. They're really for entertainment purposes. They're good as kind of a general guideline, but they're not going to be able to really pinpoint what's going on in 1/12 of the population on this planet's life. So they're really only they're looking at all of the planets, but they're only using the one sign as a factor.
Yeah, because see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Capricorn sign starts on the 22nd of December.
Depending on the year, yeah.
And I was born on the 26th, so I'm near the beginning of that. Everything close to the Sagittarius sign, so.
Some astrologers would call that a cusp. However, the cusp only falls if you were born on the day of the sign change. So depending on the year you were born, it may have changed on as early as the 20th, and it may have changed as late as the 23rd. It's not always the same date every year.
Okay, so I was pretty, well.
You're definitely a Capricorn if you're born on the 26th. Yeah.
Well, but like I said earlier, that Capricorns are extremely stubborn and stuff like that, and I know I'm stubborn when it comes to things. I don't like to have somebody tell me something different, and I believe something of my own belief, and it's like, no, I'm stubborn. I'm gonna stick with my beliefs.
Because it's a cardinal sign, it's an earth sign. And when you have the two of those, it's I, me, and mine, and it's I'm not moving. You get that earthy groundedness. So I'm not moving on what I believe.
Yeah.
There's a
Now-
practicality to it as well.
Now, have you studied any other type of astrology, such as like the Chinese astrology, like the year of the rabbit and dragon and stuff like that?
Yes, I have. I've studied a few different disciplines of astrology. Western astrology, which is kind of what modern astrology essentially is. Medieval astrology, which is utilized for spiritism, manifestation, magic, etc. Also, the horary falls under that branch, as well as Uranian astrology, which is the most modern and innovative statistical way to understand astrology, and it uses an extra 10 planets. It's developed in the early 1900s in Germany, just before World War One.
Okay, now, because I know I was talking about earlier where other than the Western astrology that most of us are accustomed to and everything like that, the other well-knowns are the Chinese, the Tibetan,
And the
there's
Vedic.
one other. Yeah, Vedic. And stuff like that. But is there any other types of form of astrology that are less known?
There's Hellenistic astrology, Uranian astrology, and that's really about it because the Celts did not have one. Some people say, you can kind of look at Mayan astrology, but that's been very difficult to decipher. We don't have enough research on that. So, what we have access to is what I think most people have identified as the big three: Western, Hellenistic, Vedic, and Uranian.
Okay.
And of course, Chinese. Sorry, so there's 5.
That's all right.
But
Yeah.
the Chinese actually don't use that as much anymore. Everyone in China is using Western.
Okay. Yeah, because I know when the Chinese do their horoscope or like the year of the dog and stuff like that, I wonder if that's just like an ancient practice that was pretty much lost and everything.
It's actually
that.
much more complex than each year because they have, within each year, there is an elemental year. So it's not just the year of the dog. It's either going to be the year of the water dog, the fire dog, the metal dog, etc., and so on and so forth. And then within those years, there are lunar rulerships. So each month in the astrological Chinese zodiac is 28 days because it's a lunar cycle. And there you get a subdivision of that particular year that you're in. Of course, they're going to use transits for each second, minute, hour, and day throughout the year as well to get finer details. But not in that same 12-month division like we have with the Western zodiac.
Now, with the Chinese zodiac and everything like that, each year brings a new thing. But how often do those? You talked about like it's not just like the year of the dog; it's the year of the water dog or something like that. But do they just kind of go through that whole zodiac and then just repeat again with just like a different version?
You know what? I would love to speak to that. I'm not entirely certain, and I don't want to give your listeners false information. But if I remember correctly and this is based on my memory, so somebody can certainly correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
I do not believe that it cycles through all of each element. So it's not like we've got the year of the fire dragon, then the fire pig, then the fire rooster, then the fire dog. the fire snake, etc. I believe that it cycles through the alternating elements. So if it goes, and I'm not even certain this is the order, but if it goes dog, rooster, dragon, they're not going to each be the same element. They're going to follow the order of the elements. So fire, earth, air, water, metal, then fire, earth, air, water, metal. But because they're an odd number, they're going to not repeat the same way every several years, and each dog in its repeating cycle will hit each of the elements before it gets back to the beginning over what I believe is every 20, 30 years.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just like trying to, the way I was going with that question is like just using a couple of the different signs in the Chinese zodiac, the dragon, the rabbit, the dog, and everything like that. Say it goes through those three, and then just does it repeat back to the dog again? That's what I'm kind of asking.
Yes, the animals repeat in a cycle, but the elements change each time they go through the cycle.
And of course, that cycle we're just kind of guessing, but you said probably about 20, 30 years.
Yeah, it's a very long cycle. Not as long as the Mayans cycle through their calendar, but it is very, very long. So, like if somebody was born a fire pig, in 10 years when the pig comes back, it might be a water pig. So you and somebody you work with might both be pigs, but you'd be very different pigs. Like one would be maybe a metal pig, the other one may be a wood pig or a fire pig or whichever it is. So it's not the same as being like meeting somebody that's an Aries and, be like, oh, we're both Aries or we're both Gemini. Well, you're like a fire Aries or a water Aries. Now in Western astrology, we don't do that. Aries is always fire. Period. Good night, the end. But in Chinese astrology, the element is different based on the year.
Now, of course, like I'm going to use my sign as an example because Capricorn is an earth sign. But
correct.
If anybody that knows like what each sign is, like Capricorn is basically the sea goat. Do the elements play any role in that? And because it is an earth sign, but the Capricorn is known as a sea goat, does a water element play a factor in that?
No, it does not. It's called the sea goat because the goat has a fish-like tail, but it lives on a mountain, not in the sea.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering about that. But yeah, we'll definitely bring you on a later show and everything like that. Maybe even during my annual prediction show at the end of the year.
That's possible. I'm completely booked for the rest of this month as far as my schedule, but December possibly. I'll shoot you an email before the end of this week at some point.
All right.
Maybe we can connect.
All right. Thank you again, Eric, for being
you for
quick mystery guest.
having me on.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We are at the top of the hour, and we'll get back into more astrology when we come back.
Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising,
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields, and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
If you like finding out about different things in the paranormal field, such as ghost stories, haunted locations, UFOs, cryptozoology, and much more, well, check out Into the Paranormal on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Videos are posted once a week. Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Call into the show, Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we are back with the Mystery Door episode where anything can happen. I want to thank Nicole for letting that person know that I was talking about astrology. Of course, he couldn't be on the full show because it was last moment thing. He had a speaking engagement tomorrow and everything like that. So we'll bring him back on the show. He's going to email me. I gave him my email address and everything like that. So he's going to get with me, and we'll do a full show with him at a later time. But, of course, tonight and tomorrow night is a Mr. Guest show. Again, I have no times. Or what was I going to say? I have no time to prepare for any guests. I just roll with it and everything like that. Of course, since I was talking about astrology, that gave me a chance to ask some questions. And, of course, I know about astrology a little bit, tiny bit. So I could ask questions, but if somebody calls on, let's say, a scare topic, I want to say like maybe like the Christian faith or something like that, I know even less than astrology on that because I am Wiccan. But if I have enough time to prepare, yes, I can ask questions, but doing a mystery show, that's the great thing about these type of shows is because I never know what's going to happen, but I will always find a way to ask questions about a certain thing if they're a mystery guest. I just have that ability when doing a talk radio. You have to be able to improvise. Of course, planning is great, but improvising on anything, you have to have a real talent for. And I guess I do have that talent because I was able to roll with the punches. Now, last night's guest was real simple to get through because all I had to do was ask my first question that I had written down for him, and it just went from there. And of course, just like astrology, I don't know much about past lives or how about past life regression or hypnotism, but it rolled right through the show perfectly. So sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm good at what I do. All right, so let's get back into astrology. And of course, like my mystery guest was talking about, that Western astrology, the horoscopes and stuff like that are for pure entertainment. So also in this second hour of the show, if you don't have to be a mystery guest, you can call in, ask a question, or I'll tell you what, this hour, if you want to call in and ask about your horoscope and everything, I got astrology.com and horoscope.com punched up. I'll look at your horoscope for today and any topic that you want to talk about, and I'll read it to you and tell you what it says. I'll do that. But if I get any mystery guests on the show, not people calling in to ask a question or anything, but anybody that wants to be a mystery guest, then we'll get off the whole topic of astrology and go into whatever that topic for the mystery guest is. But if not, we're going to do horoscope readings this hour. So if you want to call in, the numbers to call in are Skype Talk in the Night. You just search Talk in the Night in the Skype chat bar. Give me a call, or by phone at 817-717-6... sorry, I almost gave out my cell phone number. I always mess that up. Sorry about that. So the number to call in is 817-717-5561. And the only thing the same is of the Skype number and my cell phone number is the only thing the same is the area code. That's it. Yeah, I don't want people calling me at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to get sleep to get ready for my day job that I work until I get this show going really well with advertisers. I found actually sites on Facebook to promote my show and everything like that. I just got to find time to get more promoting out there and more time to get this done. So that way I have more time to do the show and not work a day job, come home, relax a little bit, eat dinner, and then get ready for the show. All right, so let's get into some astrology and everything and the signs and stuff like that. And of course, I'm going to read my horoscope for today, if I can find it here. Okay. Now, on astrology.com, here's what it says for Capricorn for today. Lately, you've been blowing people away left and right with your problem solving and general supportiveness. Now, as I said earlier in the show, it's for entertainment purposes. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. Well, right there, it talks perfectly about what I'm doing with the show is the mystery door thing where I'm blowing people away, the listeners away, with my problem solving skills of doing the show without having a sick guest or anything like that. It's thanks, Nicole. Just checking the speaker chat real quick. But like I said, it kind of goes with the whole thing of not knowing what's going on, but I find a way to get through it. That's basically what it was saying there. Now, people have I'm going to continue reading. Nicole asked, what about Gemini? I'll get into that in a second. Continue reading on Capricorn. It says, people who have a big say in where your life goes next have been watching and they're impressed. One thing to really make time for today is reflection. After all, what good is it to impress other people if you don't get to pat yourself on the back a little bit? You're allowed to give yourself positive reinforcement today. In fact, it's highly recommended. So let's get into, she wanted to know about Gemini. Let me find it here. And everything like that. Let's go to Gemini, and I'm going to go back here to the speaker chat. Well, Bill and Nicole are Gemini, so you get to pretty much get the same thing. So let me get back here and find Gemini. I apologize. It's just trying to navigate this site because I'm not used to checking my horoscope. It's been a long time. Last time I checked my horoscope was not online, but in the newspaper. That's how old I am. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when Google was actually going down to the library and searching things. So, and of course, my computer is being very stupid. Okay, here we go. See if we can get it to punch up Gemini here. And of course, I gotta get me a new computer, but alright, let's see here. Okay, that's not gonna go there, so let's see. I'll see if I can get this open and everything like that. I think I got just way too many sites open. But actually, maybe I can get to it from here. Let's see. And I apologize for the silence here, because I like to think while I'm doing this. So, sometimes it's a pain in the butt just to. Okay, I think it's that site that's messing everything up. Maybe. Let's see. I'm trying to get it to Gemini, and of course, my computer wants to be really stupid, but we'll get Gemini's thing here. Okay, it's slowly coming up. But, alright, Gemini personality, May 21st through June 20th, and I think Nicole said in the chat that she was right on the edge, May 30th, but it starts at May 21st, so you're well into Gemini. You're not like Eric was saying, I was well into Capricorn, you're well into Gemini, so you're not right on the cusp, like he was saying. But here's for Gemini. Gemini, or about Gemini, let's see, that's not the horoscope. I'm trying to get to the horoscope. That was more on their personality, which I might do for Capricorn as soon as I'm done doing the Gemini stuff. So let's see if we're going to get... Okay. Here is Gemini's horoscope for today. You may miss friends and family who live far away, Gemini. Why not make yourself a cup of tea and write some letters? It will help you feel connected in a different way than sending an email or making a call. Remember that you're blessed to have these people in your life, even if you don't see them as often as you like. Now that was just the general sun sign for Gemini. I didn't get into a whole thing about love, career, money, but if anybody wants to call and get into stuff like that, I will be glad to go to the sign and read what it says there for. Now, as I was stating, this other thing here, it was more about the sign, not the horoscope or anything. It's Gemini personality and stuff like that. Gemini is the third sign of the astrological year and is known by its astrological symbol, the twins. Gemini individuals are bright, changeable, and inquiring. They have many interests and great social adeptness. And of course, it says below you'll find general characteristics for Gemini man, woman, child, lover, and friend. At the bottom of the page, you'll find links to the article and stuff like that. But we're not going to get into that. And for Bill and Nicole, I'm going to do the Gemini man and woman and everything like that. So I'll read that. For the Gemini man, a typical Gemini gentleman has strong intellectual inclinations, but isn't the intimidating sort. These men are often dedicated to their careers, seeing it almost as a calling rather than simply a way to make a living. Gemini men excel in advertising, media, politics, teaching, or any field where language and communication skills are useful. Now, as far as the Gemini woman are glib, Glib, self-assuring, sophisticated, smart, sassy, and sarcastic. These women will have the last word. Often exceptionally good-looking, Gemini women are more interested in showing off their brain power. They are often career-driven, and even when they have children, are likely to seek career outside their domestic circle. They make good mothers, always encouraging their children to get involved in a variety of interests and hobbies. Now I'm going to get back to the Spreaker chat. So, of course, I wasn't scrolling down, so so I missed a lot of what was being said in the chat room there for a second. And since both Nicole and Bill are really good friends, I'm going to read the Gemini friends. The generally sociable nature of a Gemini friend is a big plus in drawing people to him or her. They aren't snobbish about friends and don't attempt to choose their companions thoughtlessly. Though these individuals have a love of gossip, they never indulge in the malice. A sympathetic listener, the Gemini friend likes to use humor to leaven the troubles of leaving the trouble of others. So that's about Gemini. Now, of course, like Eric was saying, that these are for entertainment purposes only. So that doesn't mean that it has a specific connection to you. It has to go with a lot further than that. Let's see if I want to, since I did Gemini and I only read my horoscope, I want to find out what it says about Capricorn personality, if I can get back to it. It's going to take a second for my computer to get there. Now, Bill and Nicole in the chat room know me real well, so you can tell me what you think. Capricorn personality, and I already mentioned it earlier, where Capricorns are success-driven, we're stubborn, and stuff like that. We won't give up. We're not the kind that likes to fail. We love success and will strive to always succeed. But here's what this says. This site says, Capricorn is the 10th sign of the astrological year and is known by its astrological symbol, the goat. Capricorn individuals are controlled, concise, and practical, with Saturn as the ruling planet. And I forgot to get into that with Eric, ruling planets and stuff like that, but when I bring him back on the show as a regular guest, we'll get into ruling planets and stuff like that. And I always knew Saturn was a ruling planet of Capricorn. I just didn't think to mention it. People born under this sign are self-disciplined, hardworking. They are highly efficient and dedicated to becoming a success. And that's what I'm working towards on this show. Working on becoming a success in this, because this is something I want to do. This is something I love to do. And if I don't have success in it, then it's a bad thing for a Capricorn. We strive. If there's something that we love to do, we strive to succeed in it. Just got to look at the time real quick. It says below you'll find characteristics for Capricorn man. One's the same as Gemini. Now, of course, the Capricorn man will often conceal things about his life for little reasons. Or for little reason. Yeah, Capricorns, we don't like to talk about ourselves that much. But we'll keep stuff to ourselves because we're more focused on the succeeding and everything like that. But as I said, we're stubborn. We're not going to back down. Now, it says being defensive comes naturally. He is afraid that if he allows himself to be open, he will be exposed, which is true. I have a tough time opening myself up to people, but once I get to know them, then I'm a little more open, but I still have that reserved to me to where I'll keep things back, even from family. that I don't want them to know about. It's what I'm dealing with and everything like that. I keep things, I'll do like a general thing of what I'm thinking, but or going through, but as far as what I might be going through, I keep that back, and I try to, I'm the kind of person that I got to do it for myself. I don't expect anybody else to help me, and sometimes I do need help. And that's something that, a trait of a Capricorn that is hard to break. But continuing on, this is why he seems so serious. And yes, I can be serious at times, but I do have a hilarious nature to me, just very seldom. With those he trusts, he shows his wicked sense of humor. That's what I got, that wicked sense of humor. I don't have the normal sense of humor. It's just a wicked sense of humor. And good nature. His principle, though he keeps his beliefs and philosophies to himself. Now, of course, there's the part that I was talking about, that these are our general thought on things. Now, like me, I'll let people know of my beliefs and what I think and stuff like that, because I want others to learn from this. Rather than, Capricorns, another thing about us, we like to help people, or at least I do. Now, Capricorn men are often devoted to their careers, which can make them seem distant regarding their family responsibilities. Yeah. We do focus on career, but like with me, I got a day job and then I do this. Now, I'm more driven to do this than the whole thing, my day job, because it's just a job. It's not a career. It's not what I want to do as a career. But things that I have done that I tried making a career of, like firefighting, wildland firefighting, selling Western wear, I put it all into it. Even trying to get into the music business, I put it all out there to try and succeed in it. Of course, I didn't succeed in the music business or country music business, but I gave it my all, and that's what Capricorns do. Again, like I said, these things are written by somebody that made them for entertainment purposes. Now, sometimes you might notice something that actually connects with you, but I guarantee you, like I said, Capricorns were stubborn and we strive for success. Another thing about me, and I mentioned this, I don't go into too much detail, but I also strive for perfection. If something doesn't look right, I got to make it look perfect. And stuff like that. 1 minute left. I think I got enough time to mention this. When my sister was young, because my sister's younger than me, it was when she was just going into kindergarten and I was in first grade. Back then, in the 70s, they weren't learning in kindergarten the stuff they're learning nowadays. It was just pretty much nap times, coloring it, and playing. But back then, in kindergarten, you had like homework as far as coloring assignment or something like that. And she would color outside the line. So I would always be the one that, let me do this. Let me color inside the line because I was a perfectionist. I wanted to be perfect at what I do and what others did. So perfection is another thing, a common trait of Capricorn. So we're at the last break of the night. I don't have time for any mystery callers for the rest of the night. But if you want to be a mystery guest tomorrow, call into the show. Check out Talk of the Night on Facebook for details. We'll be right back.
No, scratching at the scars you left on my skin. But we fight and we fall and we rise through it all till we find what we want. Then we lose it all again. Your touch on my skin, pull me close, take me in. Just me, just you, lost in the moment. Lost in the moment. Nowhere left to run. Oh, trying to bide our time. We know it's all done. Take a bow, you win.
During the week of November 12th through the 16th, Talk in the Night will honor all those that served in the military by having all the show's guests as veterans, Monday through Thursday, and with a special open line Friday where veterans can call in and share anything. Just for Talk in the Night listeners, when you go to Past Life Regression and Progression.com and mention Talk in the Night at purchase, you will receive 50% off of the books. Regular price $20 down to $10 plus mailing costs. Just go to Past Life Regression and Progression.com or click on the banner ad on the Talk in the Night website. On Friday night, one lucky listener will have a chance to win a copy of Antichrist, the Clone Image of Jesus Christ by Dr. Joy Pugh, the new updated 2017 edition. The winner must call into the show to win the book during the live open line broadcast.
Growing up, parents got me a guitar. Said you could do anything, kid, you could go far. You could be the president, fireman, race cars. The sky's the limit, kid, so shoot for the stars. So I strummed that guitar every day. Found a passion for music, never went away. I joined a couple bands and played a few shows. Tried to impress the girl in the front row. But soon enough, everything starts to change. As you grow up, nobody treats you the same. They try to take your future and make it real safe. You could be a doctor, accountant, or something sane. But yo, whatever happened to the sky was the limit.
To call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we are back in the last half hour. I don't have time to have a mystery guest on, but like I said, tomorrow night I am doing another Mystery Door episode where anything can happen, like tonight did. Of course, I had a topic. It was like last moment to decide what I wanted to talk about just in case I didn't have a mystery guest or anything like that. And it turns out that last song that you heard in that commercial break plays perfect on what I'm talking about. And of course, I put in the music before I even decided what I was going to talk about tonight, just in case I didn't have a guest. So things work out in strange ways. But like I said, tomorrow night I'm doing another Mystery Door episode. And if that really turns out good, I mean, tonight wasn't the best, but it turned out pretty good. But if tomorrow night is really good, I might do another one of these Mystery Door episodes in the future. I still might regardless, but that will come when I build my listenership up even more. Also, if you're listening to the show, you're a first-time listener, check out the show's website, talkingthenight.weebly.com, or the show's Facebook page, facebook.com/talkingthenight, and tell your friends, your family, everybody you know about the show. Help me grow the show and everything like that, because most people would do this for success and fame. Of course, I'm doing it for success too, but they would do it for fame and stuff like that. What I get most out of this is actually helping people understand what's going on in their lives, or understanding what is going on in a certain part of their thinking, like the paranormal or dating and relationships, anything. That's why I bring on different guests to give people different opinions or their thoughts on things, and let the listeners decide. But I do it to help the listeners. That's what I get out of doing this show. Now, if I could do this without making any money, making a living off of it, I would. But unfortunately, I need to make a living, so I also need to get advertisers too, which I'm working on. Now, what I've been doing is, guests of the show, you get a free week of advertising on the show. But if you want to advertise monthly on the show, contact me on either the show's website, the Facebook page, or at talkingthenight@outlook.com. I'll send you all the details about advertising on the show, the cost, everything like that. I'll even work with your budget if it requires it. So let's get into this last half hour. We're going to read horoscopes from different signs. And like I said, if you want to call into the show, mention your sign and say you want to find out about love, your career, money, health, stuff like that, I will read what it says about those two. So I've already did Gemini and, of course, my sign, the Capricorn. But let's get into Aries. And it says here, if you became an animal today, you'd be a puppy. Aries, all frisky and affectionate. By all means, put your passion to good use. Surprise a special someone with a home-cooked meal. Set a table in front of the fireplace, light candles, pour the wine, let nature take its course. You need not bother to plan a dessert. There's wonderful energy flowing between you. The sparks will fly, and I'm not going to go into details. If you're an adult, you know what I was talking about there. You can kind of read between the lines on that last part of that Aries thing. Just waiting for it to get back to the different signs. Let's go into Taurus next. Taurus, you have a creative and artistic nature that you might want to put to good use today, Taurus. You could have some good ideas for home improvement. Perhaps you need some bookcases to help you get organized, or maybe you want to complete a complete redecoration. Whatever you do, Taurus, it's bound to look beautiful. When it comes to artistic endeavors, you definitely have the touch. Again, like I said, all these signs that I'm going to be reading for this last part of the show, it is not, it's more of a general reflection of your sign, but not a reflection of who you are. Waiting for this to get back up. Let's go skip Gemini because I already did Gemini. Let's go with Cancer. You may have recently inherited either some money or some free time. This is a real gift, and if invested wisely, it could lead to some important self-discoveries. Perhaps you could use the money to enroll in college, take music lessons, or do something else that makes your heart soar. If you receive free time, you could catch up on reading, paint, and try some writing. Let's see here. Let's go to Leo next. Today is well suited for making new friends, Leo. Your sense of adventure is undoubtedly up to it. You will be your usual self-confident, but others will seem to respond to your charisma even more than usual. At a party, you may meet someone who lives far away who invites you to visit at a later date. What a wonderful opportunity for travel. Just checking the chat room here. Again, the chat room is open. It's always open during the show, so if you ever want to pop in and say hi, let me know you're listening. I do interact with the listeners, even if I have a guest on the show. We got about 18 minutes left in the show. I want to get through the rest of these signs. So Virgo, this is a very spiritual and creative day for you, Virgo. Excuse me. You're especially intuitive. Any creative effort will likely resonate deeply. Even if you don't feel like you have the talent for it, why not try some form of artistic expression? You could dabble with a paintbrush or make notes in a journal. Don't let that pesky internal editor kick in. Create for the sheer joy of it. And that's what I do with my show. I mean, of course, that was for Virgo, but I do this for the sheer joy of it and helping others. Like I said, I don't do it to become famous. That's not who I am. What day, Nicole, in August? I can look and see if it's Leo or whatever. And I'm going to scroll back here, see another day. Because it could be, depending on the date, it could be Leo, it could be Virgo. August 18th. So that would be right on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. August 22nd is the last day for for Leo. So he's in the Leo sign, but he's right on the cusp. Let's see, Libra. I was actually engaged to a woman that was a Libra and never really connected. I mean, even though we spent 10 years together, it just didn't seem like we connected together. And of course, well, when I bring Eric back on to talk about, with a full show, talking about astrology, we'll get into like the different signs connecting with each other and stuff like that. So for Libra, today is ideal for romance. It's great for forming new relationships or improving existing ones. If you don't have a special someone, make an effort to expand your social circle. Attend a lecture or take a workshop. If you have a mate, do something different together that helps you get to know one another better. A spiritual retreat might be just the boost your relationship needs. Let's see here. Let's get back here to the previous page if it'll let me do it. And go to Scorpio next. Yeah. Now, I wasn't talking about age, Bill. It was just a lot of that problems had to do with distance and different countries. I'm not going to go into details. It just didn't work. But we were together for 10 years. I'll leave it at that. For Scorpio, you have a good heart, Scorpio. And today it expands to bestow love on all mankind. You can't help but feel connected in a deep spiritual way with all who have come before you and all who follow. Even if you don't have a lot of money, consider setting up an annual giving plan that will benefit worthwhile causes. This would be a direct expense of your feelings and could potentially help many people. Let's get back here to the next one because we're running out of time tonight. Sagittarius, which my sign is close to the Sagittarius sign. Let's see. You will likely find it difficult to keep your mind on serious matters with today's playful planetary energies. You're in the mood for romance and you want to make sure everything is in its place for a flawless evening out with that special someone. You have the sexy outfit and the dinner reservations, and that's just for starters. No wonder you can't concentrate with such an amazing evening to look forward to. That's for Sagittarius. I think I got two more because I'm going to skip Capricorn. I already read that. So we got Aquarius and Pisces left here, and I think I saw something here. Now, Bill in the chat room mentioned that his brother was born on October 10th, so that would be under the sign of Libra. So let's get into Aquarius and then Pisces, and I want to talk about a couple other things before we end the show for tonight. It looks as though you're not about to hop on the bandwagon. Friends will try to get you to support one of their causes. Think carefully. They aren't going to settle for a check. They want your hands-on support. While you might be intimidated by addressing a crowd, you always did want to use a megaphone. Volunteer for a night and see how it goes. You may enjoy it. And of course on election night, megaphone is probably being used out there somewhere. And of course the last sign in the Western horoscope zodiac signs is Pisces. And for Pisces, love and passion are at the forefront of your thoughts today. Work seems tedious compared to the rich fantasy inside your head. If possible, make a point of getting together tonight with your mate. He or she is likely feeling enormous as Morris as you. You two have much to celebrate. The celestial atmosphere is conducive to the deepening of your relationship. Now, of course, those are all the zodiac signs and what that site, horoscope.com, says about your horoscope and everything like that. Of course, like I said, it's for entertainment purposes. It doesn't mean that it reflects on you. Excuse me. So we got 10 minutes left in the show, and I want to mention that next week, Monday through Thursday, I will have guests on the show that are all veterans of the United States military. So if you got, and you don't have to be a military member to listen to the show, but I recommend if you got anybody in the military, know anybody in the military, get them to listen to next week's show, because it could help a veteran's life. Like me, I don't quite have my life completely together. I'm working on it. Again, as a Capricorn, I strive to succeed, and I don't give up until I get there. And even then, I still probably wouldn't give up on succeeding. I do this radio show for helping other people, not for the fame. But if you got somebody or know somebody that is a veteran, let them know about next week's show. Like I said, Monday through Thursday, which I'm going to have the list of guests coming up next week up there as soon as possible. I might try to get it up there tomorrow. If anything, it'll be the weekend when I get the list up, or Friday night. And then, of course, next Friday night, there is going to be open lines, but with a very special veterans tribute to where veterans can call in the show and share just about anything. Now, of course, Veterans Day is coming up on Sunday. So if you see a veteran out there, thank them for their service, because if you've never served in the military, they're the reason why that you get to sleep in peace at night. Unlike other countries, like I've been to places where you don't have that freedom. You don't have the things that we have in this country to enjoy. There are much different way of thinking overseas. Now, a lot of people in this country want to talk about the way we have it now and want change. But if they ever get a chance to go over to a country that doesn't have the freedoms that we have, because they got their own monarchy or dictatorship or whatever, they got a different way of life, and you don't enjoy that freedom that we have here today. So thank a veteran for being able to sleep in peace at night and do what you please, say what you want. Don't try to take away our First Amendment right, because I mean, if you're the kind of people that like to try and change the Constitution for your own benefit, well, guess what? If you try to take away the First Amendment right, thinking it's not going to affect you, it's going to affect you too. So think about the consequences of what you're trying to do. Because if you want to shut somebody up because they don't agree with your point of view, you're taking away their freedom of speech while you're enjoying that freedom of speech. So don't do that, because a lot of people won't do the same thing. And this goes for both sides of the political parties. Think about this before you speak. Think about this before you do anything. Don't try to change anybody's belief. I don't try to change anybody's belief or thought on things. I just give them the avenue to think about things. But I'm not going to go up to a Christian and say, no, Christianity is wrong. You should be a Wiccan. No, I'm not going to do stuff like that. I'm not going to say, okay, you're a Democrat. Your ideological is wrong. You should be a Republican. Going on that because it is the midterm elections. Stuff like that. Don't try to change anybody, but kind of be like, okay, I'm not going to try and change you, but this is what I think, and let them decide whether they want to open up to learning about that or if they want to shut it off and believe their own belief system. So we got 4 minutes left in the show. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do another Mystery Door episode where anything can happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get a mystery caller or mystery guest, or if I'm going to be reading on a certain topic or anything like that. Who knows? We'll wait for that door to open. Let's see. Do I have a doorway effect on here? Because if not, I'm going to have to see if I can find a way to download a door effect. So when somebody calls, I can play that effect. But tomorrow night, we got another Mystery Door episode. Then Thursday night, I'm going to be joined by my guest, Dr. Joy Pugh, as we talk about the rise of the Antichrist. Like I said, I'm Wiccan, but I ain't going to let my thoughts cloud my judgment on bringing on somebody else that has a different point of view. That's what we all in this world should strive to do, is to get along and understand each person's point of view rather than say, your view doesn't agree with mine, so I don't want to have no connection with you. No, let's try to all come together, and that's what will make everybody a better person. And then, of course, Friday night, I'm going to do my open lines. I'm going to give one lucky listener a chance to win a book by each. Now, I'm going to give away the book of Dr. Joy Pugh's on Friday night, Antichrist, the cloned image of Jesus Christ. And since nobody won Nicole's Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways, last Friday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a lucky listener a chance to win that book as well. So, there are going to be 2 books given away for Friday night. So tell your friends, tell your family to tune in because they might like a book. So until tomorrow night's Mystery Door episode, thank you for tuning in to the show, and I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.